Hello guys, welcome to this video. In this video I'll be teaching you guys how to install and do the initial configurations for a Windows Server 2016 data center virtual machine. And for the virtualization software I'm going to use VMware Workstation. I have the premium version for this one, so I decided to use that. But if you don't want to purchase that, you can either use the 15 days trial version. I think it comes with the 15 days, or you can use VirtualBox. It's a free open source hypervisor. Very good. I used it before as well. You can download it for Windows and Linux as well if you have. Had a lot of great features, very similar to VMware Workstation, but since I have the license, I decided to use that. Okay, before we get into the physical installation and everything, let's look at very quickly at what is virtualization and why we need that. So here's a very simple definition of what is virtualization. Is more than just this. So virtualization is to have your physical devices such as a server. It doesn't have to be a server, it can be a lot more. To have a physical device such as a server logically install and manage instead on top of a physical server. So in a traditional before virtualization, every machine or every application used to have its own physical computer, such as Active Directory would have one, and then another physical server for a read-only Active Directory server, and then you'll have another physical computer for the DHCP server, and another physical workstation server for a print server. So it was a hassle to manage all of that, especially in bigger organizations. So what virtualization does, and here is a very simple explanation for this, is it takes your physical aspect and virtualizes it. So in your physical setup, you had a computer, you had the operating system, let's say Windows 10, Windows 7, and then you had your applications installed on it. But in virtualization, you have one physical machine, then you have the virtualization hypervisor installed on it, and then on that you can have multiple operating system created, and then you can have your application installed on that. So on top of that, what you can do is you can have one virtualization server. You can have hypervisor installed such as VMware ESX 6.7, and then you can create multiple virtual machines, and you can use that to do a lot more. You can have Active Directory server, you can have print server, you can have the DHCP server. It's all managed in one place. So why do we virtualize? Why do we need to do that? So less time managing it, because you don't have 10 physical server, you only have one. You don't have to worry about the physical maintenance, physical repair if something breaks for 10 instead 10, but you'll only have to worry about 1 or 2. Again, save money because you don't have to buy 10 or 12 or 20 physical devices. You only buy 2, 3, or maybe 4. Again, less physical work. Centralized configuration. You don't have to have hundreds in one location, another 101. You can have 2 in 1 and 2 in 1, and increase performance because you can use all the host physical configurations such as the memory or the CPU for your virtual machine. So, and this is a very simple, brief explanation of what is virtualization. If you want to read, I would recommend that you should go ahead if you don't have a deep understanding and read more about this. So now we'll move on to our lab here. So what we are going to do first is create a virtual machine, and then we'll install our Windows Server 2016 data center on that. So it might be a little bit different if you're using VirtualBox. but that doesn't make any difference with the installation. Click create a new virtual machine. We'll use the typical mode for that creation. I will install the operating system later here. And for the guest operating system, I'll select Microsoft Windows, and from the version, I'll select Windows Server 2016. Sorry, I don't know what happened to my mic there. For the virtual machine name, I'll put test VM. This is test scenario, so we don't have to worry about the name here. And then, okay, one thing to remember here is that when you assign the hard drive size, remember that all the virtual machines you have will be utilizing physical hard drive you have on your system. So I have this workstation, VMware Workstation, running on my laptop with 240 gigs of SSD. If I give this virtual machine 60, I'll lose 60 on the physical, because the hypervisor is using my physical storage device. Same thing goes for the memory. So if you have 10, if you assign, let's say, 9 or 8 to your virtual machine, your physical computer, your virtualization as well will become super slow, because you'll have nothing running for the operating system. So just something to remember. But for this purpose, I'll assign it 30. I think Server 2016 itself, the operating system, I think around 10 gigs for the installation. So just keep that in mind. And we'll split this into multiple files. You can read why we need to do that. I'll click next here, and we'll finish. I think the system by default assigned it 2 gigs of memory. You can see it has 2 processors. We can change that. I just right click, go into settings, and then you can change this here, you can change this here. You can have up to 16 processors and up to 16 core processor, and this cannot be changed. Then you have hard drive, you can add more. And here I'm going to map the ISO image for the installation. Make sure that this is checked to connect at power on, because if this is not checked and you start your virtual machine, it will not detect the ISO, because CD won't be connected. So I'll go into my downloads folder here, and then select Windows Server 2016 DataCentre evaluation version for 180 days. Okay, and then we have our NIC card here. You can have, so again, same thing for the network. It will be utilizing your network you have connected to your host device. Okay, we can have isolated network here. So this way there won't be any internet. Just something to keep in mind. Okay, and then we have sound card, printer, display. Nothing too much to worry about here. Okay, I'll click on power on this virtual machine. Oops, I think I was missed my chance there, so I'll restart cast. Okay. If you're using VMware Workstation and you're in the your virtual machine and you need to get out because your cursor is stuck in the virtual machine, you just need to press Ctrl and Alt, and yeah. Okay, so this is the first screen you'll get. So you'll select your language, time and currency format, and the keyboard. I'll leave everything default here. Click next, and we'll install. This may take a couple of seconds. Okay. So here we have different type of operating system that we can install here from Windows Server 2016. So we have standard evaluation, desktop experience, and then we have DataCentre evaluation, and same thing, DataCentre evaluation desktop experience. Now, what is desktop experience? So if you click on one of these two, you'll see that this option is helpful when using a GUI, because if you install the DataCentre evaluation or a standard evaluation, you will get you won't get the GUI. It will all be PowerShell. So if you want to do that, if you're comfortable with PowerShell, you can definitely go ahead and use these two. But if you're not, I would recommend that you use that export desktop experience. So in this example, we'll be using desktop experience. We'll click next here. And here we will accept the license. Click next. And then we have the section, which type of installations do you want to do? So we have upgrade and custom file. Now, what is upgrade? Upgrade is, let's say if you had a server, it was Windows Server 2012, and you want to upgrade it to 2016, but you want to keep all the configurations, files, and setting and everything that you have, then you'll use this option. There's a different process. It's not like this. You don't just insert the CD or the ISO and then go ahead. There's a complete process. I'll probably creating a video as well. This will keep all the settings that you have. What is custom? Custom is when you're installing fresh installations. So you don't have anything to we select this one. So in our case, we'll select this. If you're not sure, you can click here, help me decide, and you can see there. So in our case, we'll be using custom. Okay, so we have where do we want to install the Windows? So these are the storage devices that we have installed. So if you remember earlier when we were creating our virtual machine, we only decided to have one storage device with 30 gigs of space. But in your lab scenario, or maybe in production, you might have more. So just something to keep in mind that in some situations, not recommended, but it does happen that you might have, let's say, two hard drives, 1 terabyte, and the one that you want installed on does not have everything, but the other one that you see, maybe drive 1, might have a different operating system installed on that. Obviously not a recommended scenario for production, but it can happen. I have seen it in my previous job. So just something to keep in mind, that if you select that by mistake, you lose everything. Okay, but in this case we don't have anything, so we'll just select drive 0 unallocated space, and then click next. So this may take a couple of minutes. I'll pause the video and come back when it's done. Oh, sorry.